Jump to this next story from Forbes. Alleged Paul Pelosi attacker pleads not guilty to state charges. David DePape, the man accused of violently attacking Paul Pelosi, Nancy's husband, pleaded not guilty Tuesday to attempted murder and other state charges, according to several reports. As authorities allege, DePape specifically targeted the Pelosis and aimed to hold the House Speaker hostage. I'm just going to pause, and I don't believe any of it. I don't know what to believe. There's a lot of really crazy stories. I don't believe the gay orgy story. I think that's a little too extreme. Maybe the people are like speculating as to why he was there, but the narrative keeps changing. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, the police are, the media reports are changing too rapidly on this one for me to understand at all what happened. So here we have a story of some weird goings on. That's about it. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think happened?
Why don't they just release the security footage so we can all just know what happened? Because didn't they come out saying that there was no security footage? Because I actually went back. I found from 2020, there was an article that came out early January. Their house had been attacked. And they're like, security footage was, on there, and they don't release it now. So.
They reported the police had body camera footage. Yeah, I'm hearing a bunch of crazy stuff that an unknown person opens the door. Then they said, actually, that's not true. Then they said when they came in, they saw Pelosi and DePape fighting over a hammer. Now some people are reporting that Pelosi himself opened the door.
Yeah. Then they said he was in his underwear. Now they're saying he wasn't in his underwear. Like, what's
how do you screw that up?
Yeah. How do you mess that up? It's like the Bin Laden raid.
He was wearing long johns. Is that what they're called?
Is that what they're doing? He was in his underwear. Well, we didn't mean underwear. We meant long johns.
Tidy whities.
Underwear from the 1930s.
With the butt flap. And
When Paul called the cops, he mentioned David by name. This is what I've heard.
Yes.
So he knew the guy. So if he knows this guy, then that guy knew that he was Nancy's husband. I'm thinking, this is my story that I've got in my head. Paul's got some dealer. Paul's a crazy dude, wild man, much love, Paul, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to judge you on that. So you got this guy coming over your house at 2 a.m. He knows that it's Nancy Pelosi's husband. So he's stewing, this Paul guy, or this David guy, stewing with his stoner friends, and they're doing all sorts of drugs out in the East. I know these people from LA. Like I lived with these people. They get crazy.
You, Ian?
Yeah.
No.
Dude, dirty hippies can go crazy from psychosis.
I
from
bet,
too much weed.
They do a lot of drugs.
And other drugs. And so they're like, this guy very well may have issues with Nancy Pelosi. He's like, I'm going to do it. Tonight's the night. And he goes over there and he gets all freakish and like... But I think that they knew each other. I think that he would, and that they're gonna throw this guy under the bus. They're gonna try and throw this guy under the bus for terrorism charges. When it turns out like Paul was probably he's probably Paul's dealer or some kind of like relation to Paul. Paul knew his name. Mm-hmm. You don't just you don't know random attackers' names when they come into your house.
Yeah.
Well, so we have updates from Politico. Here's what they say: 5 new details. Paul Pelosi told police he woke up with the attacker in the room. The speaker's husband was asleep in his bedroom when DePape broke in through a glass door, entered and demanded to speak to Nancy Pelosi, according to the affidavit. No security was present at the time. I got to ask why that is. I mean, this is Pelosi. Paul was wearing a pajama shirt and boxers when the attacker arrived. Jenkins said he appeared surprised to see the man in his room, according to a police account based on an interview with DePape. This is why you have guns and why we believe in the Second Amendment, because you wake up and there's a strange man in your room with, threatening you, and you're armed, you have a lot less to worry about. San Francisco police officers found supplies in a backpack. DePape carried zip ties, tape, rope, a pair of rubber and cloth gloves, a journal, and at least 1 hammer with him to the Pelosi home. So there were 2 hammers. According to the affidavit, law enforcement also seized a sword and 2 hammers in the garage where DePape lived. Interesting. So this is almost like the Kavanaugh story, except the Kavanaugh guy got apprehended.
Yep.
DePape told police he was like the country's founders. After Paul Pelosi informed him the speaker was not home, DePape said he would sit and wait for several days for her to arrive, the affidavit said. And when Pelosi tried to use a phone housed in an in-home elevator to call the police, DePape blocked him. An in-home elevator? Oh, I'm impressed. Not surprised, though. DePape also did not leave after Pelosi called 911 because he felt that, much like the American founding fathers of the British, he was fighting against tyranny without the option of surrender, according to DePape's statement to San Francisco police. Alleged threat to break her kneecaps. DePape told police he intended to take the speaker hostage, talk to her, and break her kneecaps if she lied. This dude's nuts. DePape said in a police statement he wanted to lure someone else. He wanted to use Nancy to lure another individual, the affidavit said. The document doesn't say who the other individual might have been. But DePape told police in the same statement that he viewed Pelosi as the leader of the pack of lies told by the Democratic Party. It's really weird that a guy can live in a house with a Black Lives Matter sign in the window, a pride flag, this house rejects hate sign, and then all of a sudden just be a, he can be a MAGA guy. How about this? Many of these leftists also hate Nancy Pelosi. It's really that simple.
I'm not buying there wasn't any security.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is.
Yeah.
How is that possible that Pelosi would have no security? That's crazy.
Right. They have dudes
Luke,
that hang out in front of their house like all day.
I mean,
right?
you pointed this out. We have security, and we're not third in line or anywhere near government.
Or, one of the richest people in the world, mysteriously under, of course, very lucky circumstances that the Pelosi's are under.
Yeah.
But this is an attack, again, that the media is using as its galvanizing push for more online censorship, for the destruction of speech. And with Elon Musk just buying Twitter, this is the topic that a lot of people are discussing, and the corporate media is running the narratives. Information, conspiracy theories, bad. People having free speech, bad, because it leads to these situations that happened with Paul Pelosi, and that's disingenuous, and it's absolutely, has no credibility to it when you actually look at the facts of the situation here.
Well, Roscoe brought up a good point in Super Chats. He said, maybe the same CCT company that did the prison Epstein was in did the Pelosi residence.
Or, and probably, I think it was the same company that did the Pentagon surveillance on 9/11 as well, that had all the security cameras everywhere.
Oh, that's a great bit.
All the security company for the intelligence agencies.
And it's like, yeah, exactly. You're guaranteed to shut down during an emergency. They have like a button they can press that just like creates an error. You can automatically crash your system with the press of a button, and it looks like a total breakdown. Or they can be like actually serious, like we're the best security, and then they just happen to accidentally, fail all the time at critical moments.
Just when you need them most to fail,
well,
they'll be there for you.
They're saying there's body camera footage of this.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson asked for it. They said no.
Yeah. Just put it out.
Yeah.
Then there it goes.
And blur, private images.
I'm actually on board with this. As long as they have the evidence and they're not releasing it, I am going to just have to believe then it was a gay orgy.
Yeah.
That's right.
3 guys.
That's so much more fun, isn't it?
Well, so look.
There was a third guy, according to police in their initial report.
Now they're changing their report.
Yeah.
But look, if you are refusing to release the evidence, showing us what really happened,
right?
Well, then I'm going to assume the worst. I'm going to assume Paul Pelosi was. Look, I don't know the gay orgy thing. I think he was trying to buy drugs. I really do. That is
likely.
That night, it could have been David just going over, and he's like, David, what the hell are you doing here at 2 a.m.? And David's like, I want to talk to Nancy. He's tweaking out of his mind. And Paul's like, get out of here.
Maybe, but no security?
No, he had a third guy open the door. The cops don't just say that on accident. If that was the report, there's a third guy, a third person, then there was a third person.
Then who opened the
someone
door?
Went and asked him to change the report. The third person. Right. Security guard, who knows?
Yep. Because this isn't security guard maybe. And then they were like, well, then how did this guy break in if there's a security guard?
They let him
there?
in because they know him probably.
Exactly. The guy's local in the area, knew him. Here's what I think. Dude's probably a dealer because they said that they say that, I don't know. I heard the dude's a druggie or something. Paul Pelosi calls him up. He comes over and he's like, you got the stuff? Yes. And then David says, it costs, I'll tell you what happened. David goes, it's $50 now. And Paul goes, $50? It was 35 yesterday. He goes, inflation. What do you expect? And he's like, I'm not spending $50. I came all the way down here. Give me my $50.
I have stocks to buy.
They got getting into it and they're fighting. Security guard's like, what's going on? Then he's like, I'm going to call the police unless you get out of here. I'm done with you. And he's like, call him. See if I care. Do it. I dare you. And then he calls him and he's like, yeah, there's a strange guy in my house. And then a fight breaks out. The third guy's like, I don't know what's going on. No, I don't know about all that. I'm mostly kidding. But you make a good point, Ian. You don't accidentally say a third person opened the door.
Yeah, and he
that
knew
makes
the guy
no
by
sense.
name. Right. That was very intentionally that there's a third person there. That's what the cops said.
Honestly, this idea that this far leftist dude had a radical transformation into a QAnon MAGA guy, come on, that's crazy.
Well, I was thinking about that because there's that famous clip of Pelosi. She's talking about smear campaigns and how you just put out the wrong story up front. So by the time the truth comes out, nobody cares anymore. And so that's what I think this is they just put out the smear campaign for their own political purposes. It doesn't matter clearly, but
I can't. I find it really hard to believe that this reminds me of like the craziness of the Alec Baldwin story, because we talked a lot about how the scenario for Alec Baldwin to have accidentally killed that woman is like winning the lottery 3 times in a row. Like accidentally doesn't check the gun after decades of training on set. Accidentally, it's loaded with live ammo. He accidentally points it at her, accidentally pulls the hammer back, accidentally pulls the trigger. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, all of those things, you know, it's possible, I guess. But the simple story is actually just he pointed it and shot it. Like, why didn't he check the gun? So I look at this story and I'm like, okay, you want me to believe that a far leftist who lives in a house with a BLM sign, a pride flag, a hippie leftist with stickers on the bus in their parking space that has a bunch of leftist, like pro liberal Democrat stuff in San Francisco, in Berkeley, or was it San Francisco or was it Berkeley?
That's San Francisco.
I think
He lived in Berkeley, and then this happened in San Francisco at Paul's house.
Right. So I'm supposed to believe this guy all of a sudden just had this radical transformation to a Trump supporter, even though he's a Canadian illegal immigrant. He has this radical transformation. Knows where the Pelosi's live, shows up, there's no security, is able to get in. I got to believe all of those things for this story to be true.
Yeah.
Then I got to believe the police accidentally said there was a third person. Then I got to believe they accidentally reported he was in his underwear. Are you kidding me? After all of those accidental reportings, I don't believe it. I'm sorry.
I want to know who
I don't
David,
know what happened.
who he wants to talk to. Like, he was like, Nancy's going to be honest with me, or else I'll, the threatened about her kneecaps. But like, honest about what? What's going on here? That sounds personal. Sounds like they know each other. And then who's this other person that he wants Nancy to like corroborate something for another person? Like, it just sounds all like personal family drama.
Yeah, it was maybe it was Pelosi's son's dealer. Maybe it was their son's dealer. And he showed up because he was like, dude owes me money. Security guard let him in because they know him. And then he went to Paul and said, your son owes me money. You're going to pay me.
So
He said, no, I'm not. I don't care what my son's doing. And then he's like, 'cause apparently his son was there. You want to check this real quick?
Wow.
And he's probably like, I'll go to the media. I'll tell everyone your son's doing a bunch of drugs. You don't want this kind of information. And then, the Pelosi's are like, there's one way to stop this story from going out there. Get the hammer out.
Okay.
I don't know if he was there.
Vibrating hammer, quick.
Get the AA batteries in there immediately.
He may have been there after the fact, but look, I'll just say this. If you want me to believe a whole bunch of crazy circumstances to believe your insane story, like that's conspiracy theory territory, dude. A conspiracy that far leftist hippie guy is radicalized, then it bypasses security. What did he do? Was he like yippee-ki-yay, climbing through the air vents, Die Hard style? Got inside the building? This is ridiculous. I think it's it's plausible. Son owes him money for drugs. He shows up to the house. Security guard says, "Hey man, how's it going?" Lets him in. Junior's not there. Goes to the dad. "Hey, you owe me money. Paul, your kid's not paying me. You're paying me." He's like, "Get out of my house. I'm not paying you anything." Then he's like, "If you don't leave, I'm going to call the cops." And that's how it happens. Then the third guy who opens the door is a security guy who's like, "Leave me out of it." Then they're like, "How do we explain this to the press that there was a drug deal gone wrong or something?" I don't buy the official story. It doesn't make sense.
Isn't that funny that the stories we keep getting are all like this? We all have to talk about it and figure out the nooks and crannies of it ourselves without just getting the story. Like the Alec Baldwin story too.
Yeah.
Like every single time, every week, every day, there's a new story, and we're like, well, here's like 10% of the story, but we're not going to tell you the
This is
rest.
important right here because someone super chatted. Cosmic Surgeon said, "I've sold a lot of drugs, but never in my underwear." Dude wasn't even in his underwear apparently. That's what I'm saying. And he had a backpack. So I don't buy the story, man. Guy gets radicalized. The cops get the story completely wrong. I just looked at him and I assumed that blue jeans and a t-shirt was underwear. Whoops. The third guy, actually same guy. If there was no third guy who opened the door for you, it was Paul Pelosi. But he was fighting with the guy with the hammer? Yes. So he's fighting with the guy with the hammer, makes his way, they both wiggle over to the door, he opens it for you as he's fighting? This is insane, come on. I'll tell you this, I get it, we don't know what happened. How about you release the surveillance footage and the body camera footage, and then we'll all know exactly what happened and the story can go away.
Exactly. It's that
Yeah,
simple.
I don't see how you could prosecute this story without body camera footage at this point.
We don't use
nonsense.
footage anymore for these stories, though.
I'm
There's
really
never
concerned.
footage ever.
So
for
David,
these kinds of things.
he said he's innocent. So he's going declared innocence, or he's pleading innocent.
I wonder what his
Not
side
guilty.
of the story
Well,
is.
he's released that statement. So that's the other thing, too. It's like he told police these things. Okay, sure. I'm definitely down to look, and I want to hear him say it. The challenge is when the police have already gotten all this stuff wrong, you expect me to believe him? The cops are like, he was in his underwear and a third dude opened the door. Oops, never mind. And now you expect me to trust you when you say, here's what he told me?
Yeah,
The crazy guy said this. Oh, God,
Last night I was thinking I can't wait to hear David's side of the story, and then I got this like message from God. I got this impulse of like, there's no way we're letting him talk to the public, and that was from Paul. Paul's like, there's no way we're letting David talk to the public right now.
What if they Epstein
Like,
him?
what do you mean that you're letting him? This is all just like in my imagination, but I'm like, is this the kind of energy? Like, is this real? Are they like in control? Are they in cahoots with the cops? I don't see why they wouldn't be. The Speaker of the House, his family, local police, like, I think they probably know each other pretty well.
Yeah, I'm
Absolutely,
just
yeah.
first and foremost, no matter what, I find it hard to believe there was no security there.
Yep.
Just insane.
Apparently, the Pelosi's have Safe House Security is the company that is Pelosi's private security.
Well, there's
Safe
also
House
a
Security.
neighborhood security company too. Based on that story that I found from 2020, there's a company that goes around for the neighborhood itself. Then there's the Pelosi security. Then they also have security cameras. So there's no reason.
Then they
that
also
no-
have Capitol Police officers that fly from Washington, D.C. to literally watch them at their home, which has been targeted politically before. So it's just absolutely mind-boggling.
Let's-
They have no security? Come on.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.